So I just sold these Bluegrass records here. We were talking about Bluegrass records recently. And somebody bought this whole lot of records. Mainly, not for that record, but mainly for these albums here. It was a bunch of J.D. Crowe albums. These are all the ones from Japan. Well, this is Keith Whitley on it, Jimmy Gaudreau. Now these records here, these last three, I just got, and they are three of the cleanest records I've ever received. They're near mint. They look like they've never been played. And they've got the obies and the inserts, the lyric sheets with them, and they're just flawless. There's another one with Tony Rice on it. So I'm happy to say that the price I sold these for, I make a little bit of money, but actually the price was pretty fair. I was able to keep the price pretty low because the buyer bought so many, right, all together. And I actually threw in this one for free because there's no extra shipping charge. There was up to 2 kilograms worth of shipping, the same price. So actually that's a pretty heavy record now that I got it in my hand. Maybe I picked the wrong record to give for free. But anyway, thought that might be interesting given all the talk about Bluegrass records the other day. And yeah, it just goes to show you that in 2026, the Bluegrass records are moving a lot quicker than the country records are moving. So that's that. Another album that sold here today was a hip-hop single no one would be that interested in, but this is kind of fun. This is Cinderella Laserdisc. Wow. Pretty incredible. You know, I really should have asked for more money. I mean, I set it at $60 US, I think. But I have seen people asking $300 and $400 for this. But, you know, people can ask whatever they want. I mean, it doesn't really mean they're ever going to get anything near that. But $60 was very fair for me, considering what I paid for it. That was very reasonable. I don't have a player to test these on, but I would love to have one. It's very hard to find a Laserdisc player that is in working condition. You have to pay $300 or $400, in fact, for a working Laserdisc. And I'll show you some other records I've received here recently. This is a record that sells for around $150 or so. There was a reissue of it. This is what they called Japanese City Pop. This is an old record from 1977. It is a near mint copy with all the fixings with it, the strip and the insert. That's a George Jones one. Yeah. I thought it was a compilation at first, but that's actually the way that album looked in America, Canada, and in Japan. Not the best album cover. I mean, it's not terrible, but this is Avenger, something I had not heard of. A pretty amazing album cover. Bloodsport. He's got the homemade helmet on and a chainsaw, and it's got a very nice label with it too. I've always collected metal records, punk and metal records. Here's some stuff. Pridesman. This is Charlie Pride's band. I think it's a really great record. I had to get a copy of it. Stoney Edwards. Don't know that much about him, but I think Curly Chalker plays on one of these records. I always pick up Tom T. Hall records if they're one that I don't have because, well, you can't go wrong, and he's one of my sort of heroes. I picked this up at the Floyd Country Store. Oh, as you can see, the hype sticker. I picked up the Floyd Country Store. I went to see Red Volkart play there a couple weeks ago in, what is it, North Carolina? Or no, it's in Virginia, West Virginia. And yeah, it was an okay show. It wasn't like, the venue was just okay for me. It wasn't as maybe what everybody hypes it up to be, but they were selling some of these old country records that were made on the County Records label, and they've reissued them. I think the County Records label did originate in Floyd. Yeah, there it is. It originated in Floyd, Virginia. So somebody reissued a couple of the old titles by Kenny Baker. That's a really nice album cover on a Johnny Cash record, From Sea to Shining Sea. And I was really lucky recently that all the stuff I picked up locally here in Thailand was all like near mint stuff. So it must have all came from the same house that barely anyone listened to it. This is that Tennessee Ernie Ford record that was reissued on Analog Productions. And people have gone on and on and on about this. People who don't even like country music have gone on about this. Like, it's the reissue you must have in country music if you're going to just, for most, because most people are not country fans, and they certainly don't want an Ernie Ford record in their house. That's kind of dollar bin stuff typically. But this reissue has been bragged about as being just amazing, and I think it's just him with the two guys there, the bass and the guitar player. So it's like a little trio jam session. This is pretty cool. I picked this up in that steel guitar collection. I brought a few of those steel guitar records back with me from the collection I showed you. This was one that I couldn't resist because look at her Emmons steel guitar there, Dolores, and it's not too bad. I listened to it. Also, well, anyway, I'd go into more detail, but this video would be too long. Skeeter Davis reissue. Had no idea this was a thing. Record Store Day reissue of some live Skeeter Davis stuff for the Navy Hoedown sessions. Probably make a video about that. I bought this simply because of how hot Loretta Lynn looks in this. I mean, she looks incredible in a milfy kind of way. Wow. Unbelievable. How great of an album cover for me. Probably talking too much here, so you can just look at these. Some of these I'll talk about in other videos. Maybe here pretty soon. I'm not crazy about this album if anybody wants it. I have listed it for sale. Really, it's the album cover alone that is so spectacular on this. Live at the Alabama Women's Prison. Mac Vickery. Yeah, I didn't care for this album at all, but yeah, that album cover is actually almost worth, it's almost worth keeping just for the album cover. That record sells for $30, $35 or so, secondhand. It's not too common. Of course, you can never have enough Texas Troubadours live. If that is actually live or not, for real, I can't remember if it's just a studio or just a fake live album. I can't recall. Yeah, here's a bunch of those steel guitar records. I brought home the couple of the Pete Drake ones. I do like Pete Drake quite a bit, actually, except for the Talking Steel Trek. This is a horrible album. Oh my God, this is pitiful. Oh wow, the glare is too much. But the album cover's great. He made this album. This is quite a story, actually. He was the business partner of Buddy Emmons, who built. This is the guy who built all those Emmons guitars. The actual engineer / manufacturer. And so I didn't really know that until I read this, that it was like his dream to make a steel guitar record, but he wasn't a steel player really. He could play a little bit, like he could play some chords, but he was not a performing steel guitarist really. And so it sounds about like that. It's pretty rough, but the song selection's pretty good. This is a pretty killer album. I haven't listened to this one yet. I am interested to talk about Step One Records at some point. I'll have a lot I'd like to investigate and probably say about that, but El Rogue. And last, we got Ernie Hager, the Steel Guitar Odyssey. Those you recognize from the that other video, and you can see that the storage is coming along here. It's not looking too terrible at the moment. I have other new records like this here, but anyway, don't want to make too long of a video. This is pretty incredible though. Yep, okay.